Yes guys, how you doing? Caitlin Clark's iconic number 22 jersey at Iowa is heading for the rafters forever. But before that happens this weekend, she gave an interview that has gone viral and got everyone talking. And if we're being honest, it's made us kind of fall in love with her even more. She talked about her time at Iowa, what it meant to her, hanging out with Taylor Swift, all sorts of topics were covered. Let's dive in. First of all, ahead of this epic jersey retirement, we have to say Caitlin Clark, everything she does just make fans really respect her. She's so humble, she's so well-rounded, she comes off so well in the media, and it just goes along with her unbelievable game. She has the personality of a star to match. On top of that, it seems as if she has turned down the three-point contest with the NBA, where she should be set to team up with the likes of Sabrina, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, but it looks like she's turned it down because she wants her first three-point contest to be in Indianapolis. And wherever Caitlin Clark goes, she brings eyeballs, she brings interest. She acknowledges being a game changer, but what's really lovely is she ultimately says that everyone else impacted her as well. There were other people that changed the game or changed her life as well. And the way that she speaks, the way that she communicates, the fans clearly respond to it. It's really warm, it's really authentic. She's confident while also being humble. What a beautiful balance. On the topic of retiring her jersey, again, so warm the way she speaks. She says that when she came into college, it's of course something that she never aimed for, but now that it's happened, she is understandably massively honored. She is the third player, I believe, in the history of Iowa to have a jersey retirement. Number 22, there's been some great players to wear the 22 as well. Record breaker, trailblazer, superstar, Caitlin Clark. No surprise that this is happening, and so deserved as well. The transition between college basketball and the WNBA was of course a topic that was covered. At Iowa, everything was structured. Now it's all on her to deliver the magic. She certainly set the bar really high, but really cool to hear her talk about that time. Talking about the off season, she did discuss training with her new trainer, Keith Porter, a man who loves the game. And I was really intrigued to hear her talk about this because a lot of people really wanted to see her play in Unrivaled, but she's decided to take this time off. I mean, this is the first time she's had this kind of time during the off season to really focus as an individual on her game. And it sounds like we're just gonna see Caitlin Clark 2.0 for the Fever next season. She's working on strength. Physically, the other players are gonna be in for a rude awakening by the sounds of things. She's working super hard. She's working hard on all the things she does well. We're probably gonna see an even better shooter, and she's also working on her weaknesses. Check out the clip. About training with Keith Porter, she says, I just want to dominate. I want teams to realize they can't defend me the same way anymore. Now, if you're an opposition player, that's gonna be daunting. Like I said, Caitlin Clark 2.0. Is there an MVP season on the way? I think so. Another part of this podcast that really made you love Caitlin Clark was how grounded she is. The interviewer asks her how she's able to turn off that fiery competitive mentality that she's become known for on the court, especially giving interviews when she's fired up, and just listen to the way she talks about how grounded she is, and that being thanks to the way she was brought up, thanks to her parents. It sounds like it was just an unbelievably special time for her at Iowa, especially when you think now, Time Athlete of the Year for 2024, this megastar Caitlin Clark. But back in college, she had that really close bond with her team. It was very wholesome, it was very homely. It was all about playing video games, having brunches, and basically being one big family. It's crazy to think COVID was a thing and what that meant for athletes, what that meant for all of us. It's so weird to flash back, and Caitlin reflects on what it was like in that first season, getting her feet wet in college basketball, playing in front of cardboard cutouts. And this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast, talking about what that time meant to her. But she says actually it was super beneficial to cut out the noise and just be able to focus on her game. And of course, saying no to the three-point contest. For me, if I'm reading between the lines, well, you don't have to read between the lines. This is Caitlin saying, I want to shine a light on the WNBA. This isn't about shining a light on the NBA right now. I know the NBA is chasing improved ratings, but if she's going to lend her star power and her light, or whatever you want to call it, to anything, it's going to be the WNBA. Personally, I'd love to see her face off with Steph in a three-point contest. We saw it with Sabrina last year at the All-Star game for the NBA. But how cool would it be if Steph came over to the WNBA? Clark versus Curry, that would be sweet, that would be memorable, and that would be massive for the league in terms of bringing in new fans. I think there's an understanding among the WNBA and the NBA that Caitlin Clark is able to transcend the sport of basketball and bring in casual fans, which is crucial if you want to build, if you want to grow and encourage these new fans to fall in love with basketball. Caitlin Clark has that kind of effect, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why she is seeing her jersey retired. This is not a feat achieved by any ordinary players. This is a feat for the extraordinary, and that is Caitlin Clark. Guys, let us know in the comments, what do you think about Caitlin's jersey retirement? What did you think about the podcast? I thought it made her come off beautifully. I love the way she carries herself, how warm and down to earth she is. I'm clearly not alone. And as you know, I'm a big fan of reading the comments because they really just sum up everything on this YouTube podcast by Iowa Hawkeyes on 24/7 Sports. It's pretty obvious that Caitlin Clark doesn't forget where she came from and is a humble superstar, writes GeoFlex222. I'm sure everyone and their mother nationwide is trying to get her on their show, but she made time for this interview because of how it connects to her roots. Sums it up beautifully. Kathy Gregory 3443 writes, I was touched by the interviewer's clear affection for her. He's proud of her and proud to have shared history with her, and she was equally respectful back. Loved her description of how she sees the media as important storytellers for sport. Yes, agreed. It explains her patience and the level of attention she gives to each question asked. Love it. Would love to have her on She Got Game. Watch this space, maybe one day. And finally, Tripod writes, impactful was the first word that came to me when thinking about her Iowa career in 3 words, and she pegged it. A great interview. CC is simply the best. Love it. So guys, to sum up, Caitlin Clark, pretty deserving of the word legend, getting her jersey retired this weekend. This is very special, a special achievement for a very special player. Would love to know your thoughts on a woman making headlines, and will continue to raise the bar. We'll continue to do so. So let us know your thoughts in the comments section. In the meantime, like, share, and subscribe. This has been Andrew Whitelaw for She Got Game.